Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to do the part one of a three-part series on parallel compression. Today, we're going to talk about drums. I'm going to show you how I do parallel compression here on my console and how you can mimic the same process in the box to give your drums more energy and more impact. So we're going to talk about parallel compression on drums today, so stick around. Okay, everybody, welcome back. So in this video today, we're going to start part one of a 2 or 3 part series on parallel compression. Okay, I'm going to show you how I'm doing parallel compression here on my SSL for drums. And then I'm also going to show you how you can mimic the same thing in the same workflow in the box for all of my in the box plugin aficionados. So we're going to do that. I'm going to show you a simple way to add more energy to your drum set. Now, if you want to really get down deep into parallel compression, I also have a course called The Power of Parallel Compression. Link will be in the description box below, and there'll be a 25% discount coupon code, YouTube25. You put that in the checkout, it'll take 25% off, or we spend a couple of hours just talking about parallel compression, not just on drums, but on all the instruments inside of your mix. And that course is all done inside of the box only with plugins. But today we're going to talk a little bit about both console and we're going to talk about in the box. So let me show you here in Fender Studio Pro what we have set up. Right now, I'm just going to play you back the drum set of what we have here on a finished mix. Now, if you want the multi-tracks for this song too, you can also click the link in the description box below, and you can go check out the video. This is the drum set for the David Bowie classic, Let's Dance. Go to the description below, and you can go check out that video, and you can download the multi-tracks. I don't want to forget to tell you that. So we have a basic drum set here. Okay, we have a kick in, kick out, a kick sample, snare top, snare sample, and a snare bottom. Hi-hats, floor tom, overhead left and right, no rooms on this particular multi-track. And then I also have some bongos at the end of the song and some little percussion wood blocks that are also going to my parallel drums track. Now, for everyone in the box, the way you can do this, you can set this up very, very easily. Okay, so you'll see down here on my console view, I have all my drums in brown. I have my kick drums and my snare drums being routed to a bus. And then all of those are being sent, as you'll see here, we're using a send pre-fader. You want to make sure it's pre-fader to a bus track here in purple that I've labeled P drums. And on that track, I have some compressors, okay? We're going to listen to the console. We're not going to listen to what we're doing in the DAW here, but you can just copy along. We're going to look at an 1176 style compression for parallel drums, as well as a Neve 33609. So on this particular bus here, I have a Universal Audio 1176, and I have a Neve 33609, and we can flip back and forth between them. We'll do that in the hardware world because I have both those hardware units. So that's how you would set it up in the box. Take all your drums, send it pre-fader, super important, pre-fader to your parallel drum tracks, set up a parallel compressor, which we're going to do now. And then what you do is you take that fader on your parallel drum track and you feather it in underneath the drum set. You don't want to be louder than the original drum track. You want to sit it underneath just to give the track more energy and more cut through. That's what we're looking for. We don't want the parallel drums to be louder than the original drum tracks. Okay, that's important. So that's how you do it. That's how you do it for in the box. Now on the console, it's done very much the same way. So let me bring up my digital patch bay here. This is by Flock Audio. I've done some videos on Flock Audio. I'll link it in the description box below. Digital patch bay. It allows me to cycle through an A/B hardware just like you do with plugins in the box. So this is what we have going on. We have all our drums routed down here on the console. We have our kick, our snare, track 3s, our hats, floor tom, overheads, and the 2 percussion tracks, the bongo and the block, the little wood blocks. Everything else is muted on the console. Okay, those are already processed or EQ'd and compressed. And the way I do it on the console, just kind of like the way you do it in the box, on an individual track level, I have a send that I can send to my parallel drum track, which is right here in the center of my console. Pardon me, you can see it over the top on the top camera. This third pod in orange, that's my drum crush or parallel drum track, okay? And on that parallel drum track, I have 2 compressors. If you look here in the Flock Audio app, I have an 1178, which is in a stereo 1176. And then I also have underneath it a Neve 33609. Both of these units are by Audioscape. We love Audioscape. So this is the AS78, which is their version of the 1178, and their 609, which is their version of the Neve 33609. And by clicking and holding my command key, I can turn the compressors on and off just like you turn your bypass on and off with your plugin. So what I want to play back for you now, right now the parallel drums are off. They're not turned on. We'll talk about the settings in a second. And the way you know it's off on the console, it's the little red light here above the pot is on. When the red light is on, it means it is bypassed. When I hit this button and the red light goes away, it means the parallel drums are now enabled, and we blend it in with this pot, just like you do with the fader inside of the box, the volume, okay? So I'm going to turn it off for now. So here is just the drums on their own, processed with drum bus compression, kind of a finished mix. Here we go. Here's just a part of the drum track for this song. Okay, so there's our regular drums with some drum EQ, compression, all of that. Again, if you want to go see how I mix the song, click the link in the description, go out and watch the video, and you can download the multi-tracks, all the multi-tracks of the song. Okay, so let's start with the 1178 or the Audioscape AS78, and I'll take you over there and I'll show you the settings. But I have these two compressors, and I'll usually, depending on the type of song and the type of parallel compression I want, I may use one or other of these compressors, and they're set up very differently. The 1178 or the AS78 is set up like a traditional all buttons mode on 1176, where we're really smashing the compressor. We're using a very fast attack and a fast release to give the whole a ton of compression. We're doing about 12 to 15 dB of compression. That's on the AS78 or the 1176 that you can use in the box. And I'll take you over and show you the settings. On the 33609, I'm doing more of the Chris Lord-Alge approach, where I'm doing more of a 4:1 ratio. I'm only doing about 4 dB of compression. I'm doing a slow attack and a fast release. Now, this is going to give us two completely different sounds. The 33609 or the 609 by Audioscape is going to give us more punch, more transient, a little bit more thickness to the drums, a little bit more subtle in the way of over compressing, but it's going to add a little bit more energy. Whereas the AS78 or the 1178 is going to be more explosive, way more energetic, a ton more compression. And I like to choose between what kind of compressor I like depending on the track. And I want to show you that to you now. Hello, friend. I hope you're enjoying the video. Hey, if you're serious about becoming a better mixer, then check out the mixingacademy.net. Every month you'll get a brand new set of multi-tracks and mix along with me step by step and learn the why behind every mix decision. You'll also connect with other mixers, join me for live coaching calls, and I'll personally give you feedback on your mixes each month. Click the link in the description below and check out the mixingacademy.net. Now back to the video. So let's start with the 1178. So all I'm simply going to do is I'm going to play back. I've already set up the compressors. I'm going to play back that drum part again, and then I'm going to take and I'm going to enable the drum parallel or drum crush track. Okay, I'm going to turn it up a little bit, more than I normally would, just so you could hear the difference of what it does just with the drums. So here we go. Keep your eye on the red button. Right, so you can noticeably how much louder it gets. I turned it up purposely so you could hear the volume change, you could hear what's going on. Now I'm going to back that off a little bit to where I think it's more appropriate. Now again, we're not listening to the rest of the mix. We'll listen to that in a second, but I just wanted to get you a feel for what this does. Okay, this is the AS78 or the 1178, which you would use in the box, the 1176. You can hear how much more explosive it gets on a lot more room around the snare, a lot more energy, right? So listen to that. So I'm going to back it off a little now to where I think it's appropriate level-wise. Hear the difference? Okay, that's pretty much where I would leave it. It's about 30% lower than I had it before. Now, let me put that in the context of what's going on here so you can check it out. So I'm going to bring in our bass guitars, our organs. I'll bring in the horns. I'm not going to bring in the vocals because I'm going to try to keep this thing from getting copyrighted, but I don't want to get any kind of a copyright strike, but I don't know. I'm going to try, I'm going to try to do this so we can listen to it in context quickly. Okay. So let me back this up again. I'm going to back this up to the beginning of the song. I'm going to play it through. I'm going to start with it off and then I'm going to bring it in. This is again, the 1178 style compression. And once I do that once or twice, I'll go over there with the pocket camera and I'll show you the settings on the compressor so you can see it, and then you can copy it in the box if you're in the box. Here we go. Okay, hear the difference, see the difference, you can see the settings. You can copy that on your plugin in the box and you can try that. Let's go all the way back to the beginning of the song. Now, we're going to go and we're going to try the AS609 by Audioscape, which is again the Neve 33609. So again, I'll show you the settings in a second, but again, now we're only doing about 4 to 5 dB of compression. We're using a slow attack, not a fast attack. It's a different type of compression. Okay, we're not doing as much compression, but we're using that to just give a little bit more density. It doesn't have as much of that explosive feel. It just makes the drums a little bit more present and a little bit more energetic. It's slightly different. Let's listen to it. So here we go. It's turned off right now. Let's play that back and I'll bring it in. And I'll turn it up more than I really want to, just so you could hear it, and then I'll back it off to the level where I think it ought to be. So let's just solo up our drums for now, and let's just listen to it on drums. Let me mute all the horns, the bass, the guitars, and the keyboards. Here we go. Okay, so what you hear there, or what I'm hearing in the room here, it doesn't have that same kind of explosiveness because we're not using a fast attack. We're not getting more of the overall really crushy stuff. It's a little bit more mild compression with a slow attack, which is just going to allow the transient for the kick and snare to cut through more because we're using a slow attack, and it just sounds a little bit more denser and a little bit more thick. And that's what a Neve style compressor is going to do compared to maybe the 1176, 78 kind of vibe. Okay, so now if we bring back all those instruments again, horns and why not? Okay, go back to the beginning of the song, and then I'll do the same thing. We'll take it in and out so you can hear what the differences are. Here we go. We'll start with it off. And then I'll take you over there with the Pocket Cam and show you the settings on the Neve. Okay, so it's a different kind of compression depending on the kind of track, on what you want, right? That's the kind of two styles that I typically will use. Now, what I want to do, and what makes this application and this unit so awesome if you use lots of hardware, if you happen to be a hybrid mixer, something like the Flock Audio Digital Patch Bay makes this beautiful, because now what I can do is we can flip back and forth between these two pieces very simply. All I have to do, we'll start with the 33.6, or we'll start with the 1178, then I'll turn it off, and then I'll turn on the 33.609, just like you're doing with plugins. So if you're someone that uses hardware, again, check out the Flock Audio digital patch-based systems. I'll leave a link in the description box below. It's a game changer, and I don't use that word lightly. Okay, here we go. We'll flip back and forth between the 1178 or the AS78 and the 33.609 or the 609, both by Audioscape. I'll link them as well. Here we go. Here's the differences. Okay, so hopefully you hear the differences there. They're pretty much level match, but the bottom line is, and again, I have this turned up a little bit louder than I typically would because I want you to hear it. The trick with parallel compression is you don't want it, again, you don't want to hear this massive volume jump. Yes, it's going to be a little bit louder, you know, because you're adding more volume, obviously, but you don't want it to overtake the rest of the drum set or whatever you're doing parallel compression on the source tracks. You want those to be the dominant sound, and you want these to just come in underneath. And how much you dial into taste is completely up to you. So once again, you could do the same thing in the box. I showed you how I did that earlier. If you want, again, learn more about parallel compression, check out the power of parallel compression. Again, there's coupon codes. All the links for everything I talked about today are in the description box below. So let me know in the comment section below if you guys use parallel compression. What are your two favorite compressors for drum parallel compression? I'd love to know, and let me know if you use hardware or plugins or both and what your thoughts are. And until the next video, where we do another video about parallel compression, but next time we're going to talk about everything else: bass, horns, keyboards, and vocals. How do we do that on the console, and how can you do the same thing in the box? I've been Dave with HomeRecordingMadeEasy.com. Thank you so much for watching me, everybody, and I'll see you guys in the next video.